$50,000 to anyone who can name this oud's wood, forest, and harvest year. One single sniff.
A middle-aged businessman in a tailored suit stood, his confidence already crumbling as he approached the Sheikh's table. He took the small glass vial, sniffed deeply, and his face went blank. Not a clue.
Nothing. I thought so. You've just embarrassed yourself in front of all Kuwait.
The room erupted in mocking laughter, but it was the laughter of hyenas circling wounded prey. Across the restaurant, a waitress named Olivia paused, her silver tray hovering, watching the cruel spectacle.
$50,000 would change everything for my family. But if I fail...
The Sheikh stood, arms spread wide, repeating his challenge to the entire room. Still, no one moved. Then Olivia set down her tray, smoothed her burgundy pencil skirt, and walked toward the table, every step deliberate. All eyes turned. The Sheikh's smug smirk flickered, just for a moment, into something cautious. She walked past the whispering diners, her heartbeat steady and focused despite the mounting pressure.
Faisal's smirk returned, sharp as a blade. You wish to play, little waitress.
For a heartbeat, Olivia was no longer in the restaurant but a dusty hut in Oman, her grandmother's weathered hands guiding her tiny fingers over rose petals.
Namira's voice, soft as silk. Every rose has a song, Habibti. You must learn to listen carefully.
Steady now. Grandmother taught you to trust your nose. May I?
Faisal handed her the vial with a scornful flick of his wrist, as if offering alms to a beggar outside the mosque. The glass felt cool in her palm, carrying the weight of a challenge that had humiliated many before her. She closed her eyes, lifted the vial to her nose, and let all her grandmother's lessons flow into her senses. The room dissolved into silence. Only the oud remained, waiting to reveal its secrets. As the scent of the oud unfolded in her mind, Olivia's lips parted, studying the fragrance like a scholar of old.
Aquilaria malaxensis, Persat Province, Cambodia. Harvested in 2009.
A wave of murmurs swept the room. Faisal's companions exchanged glances. One dropped his spoon.
For a beat, Faisal said nothing. Then he laughed, but the laughter had no conviction. Lucky guesses, perhaps. But anyone can memorize a few names.
No luck. I can also tell you this oud is contaminated. Someone added a synthetic fixative to stretch the yield. The sharp edge at the finish gives it away.
The accusation dropped like a stone into still water. Faisal's smirk evaporated.
His voice turned low and dangerous. You dare insult my oud in my own country.
I am not insulting it. I am telling you the truth.
The Sheikh's hand closed into a fist on the tablecloth. His companions sat frozen. In the dead silence, Olivia held his gaze, unblinking. The aroma of tainted wood still lingered in the air between them.
You are telling me a waitress knows my oud better than my own nose. Prove it, or I'll make sure you never serve in Kuwait again.
I don't need to prove anything, but have it tested. The synthetic note won't lie.
Faisal slammed his palm onto the table, rattling the gold cups. He barked an order to his assistant to summon the finest laboratory in the city. Olivia opened her worn notebook, pages filled with chemical diagrams and scent profiles, and laid it on the table for him to see. Within 20 minutes, a lab technician in a white coat arrived, a sterile kit in hand, ready to draw a sample of the oud.
If your little notebook fails, you'll regret stepping up. Your humiliation will be legendary.
Then I'll have something to discuss over coffee. But I am not wrong.
A drop of the dark oil was injected into the gas chromatograph. The machine hummed to life, its analysis beginning. The technician worked in silence, his face a mask of professional neutrality as he prepared the sample. The restaurant held its breath. The screen remained dark, processing. Everything depended on what the machine would say. The chromatograph beeped. An extra spike, jagged and sharp, appeared on the graph. Synthetic contaminant confirmed.
Someone has poisoned my name. Who supplied this bottle? Speak.
A phone call was made. Minutes later, Tariq, Faisal's cousin, entered the restaurant, his gait too careful, his smile too quick.
Cousin, what is this? Accusations? I have been your trusted supplier for a decade. Perhaps the bottle was tampered with after it left my hands. The waitress could have done it.
Then you'll have no problem explaining the fixative. Ethylene brassylate, blended to mimic natural musk. It's not subtle.
Tariq's throat bobbed. He recognized the chemical name, and the recognition flickered in his eyes before he could hide it.
You know something, Tariq. I see it. Explain this contamination, or by God, you will regret it.
It is a lie. Someone is trying to destroy our family business. I would never cheat you, Faisal.
Faisal stared at his cousin, the first crack of doubt spreading through his trust like frost on glass.
How does a restaurant server possess such knowledge? Who trained you?
My grandmother Namira harvested desert roses in Oman. She could smell a single drop of impurity in a barrel of oil. She taught me everything.
Namira's voice, a memory. Trust your nose, child. The earth never lies, only men do.
Back in the restaurant, she flipped open her notebook, revealing pages of perfume ingredients and contaminant markers.
This fixative, ethylene brassylate, appears in cheap commercial blends. No natural oud has this fingerprint.
A story from a grandmother in a notebook proves nothing. Faisal, she's mocking our heritage.
Shall I describe the scent of every additive? The faint plastic edge, the metallic aftertaste.
Tariq's hand trembled. The waitress was dismantling his decade-old scheme before his eyes.
You'll show me your distillery records. Every barrel, every transaction. Tonight.
The Sheikh's loyalty was shifting, and Tariq knew it. The room, once filled with mockery, now held only the scent of betrayal.
Where are your ledgers? You keep them always close, you said. So produce them. Now.
Tariq hesitated, then pulled a worn leather folder from his bag, placing it on the tablecloth, as if it burned his fingers. Olivia leaned in, scanning the columns. Her finger froze above a date. The ink was too dark, too fresh for a page supposedly a decade old.
These dates have been overwritten, and the yield per tree is impossible for a natural harvest.
You dare accuse me of forgery? I am no scribe. These are original records, impeccable.
Then explain this. My grandmother's notes say one tree yields 8 tolas. Your logs claim 12.
Tariq's throat moved, but no sound came. The numbers condemned him.
What else have you falsified, Tariq? The harvest year? The wood itself?
If the records are forged, what else went into the barrels? A decade of contamination.
The Sheikh did not answer. He simply stared at his cousin, the silence heavier than any threat.
Enough. I am ordering a full surprise audit of your distillery tonight. Every barrel, every record, no warning.
Cousin, please. The distillery is not prepared. This is an insult to our family bond.
Family bond? You forged documents under my nose. The truth will reveal itself in those barrels.
He's cornered. The truth will finally surface.
Faisal dialed his chief auditor. Within an hour, a team of forensic accountants and a chemical analyst would descend on the distillery. Tariq's face drained of color. He heard every word of the arrangements and understood his decades-long deception was unraveling.
If they inspect the barrels, they'll find the fixative. My entire life will collapse.
The barrels don't lie, Tariq. Neither do I.
Halfway across the city, a black van pulled out of a parking garage, carrying the audit team toward the industrial quarter where the distillery stood. Faisal turned his back on his cousin. The final thread of family trust had snapped, and Olivia felt the scales of justice tilt at last. The distillery hung in shadows, copper stills gleaming dully. Olivia entered with the audit team, her footsteps echoing on the stone floor.
Behind that false panel, I can smell the synthetic, sweeter than the oud, cloying.
The auditor slid aside a board, revealing a small glass bottle of clear liquid. Olivia unscrewed it and sniffed once.
Ethylene brassylate. The exact synthetic note from the restaurant test. This is how you diluted the oil without detection.
I used it once, a small trial, a mistake. I never meant to defraud Faisal for long.
Olivia moved past him and lifted a dusty binder from a shelf. Inside were purchase invoices for the chemical, dating back almost a decade.
8 years of invoices. This wasn't a mistake, Tariq. You built your fortune on contaminated oud.
Tariq opened his mouth, but no excuse came. The invoices fluttered to the floor like fallen leaves. The audit team quietly bagged the evidence. The bottles, the ledgers, the tainted barrels. The distillery was a crime scene now, and in that cold silence, The waitress who once served tea now held the keys to a family's darkest secret. Sheikh Faisal stepped into the distillery, his white thobe stark against the gloom. The evidence lay on a table before him, the fixative bottle, the forged ledgers, the yellowed invoices.
8 years, Tariq. You bled my name for 8 years.
Forgive me, cousin. I was weak. The profit was too tempting. But we are blood.
Justice isn't weakness. He stole from you and from every customer who trusted your oud.
Faisal's jaw clenched. His eyes glistened, not with tears, but with the pain of a man choosing between family and honor.
Please, Faisal. I'll repay everything. Exile me. But don't hand me to the authorities. Think of my children.
Your children learned fraud from you. Justice is the only lesson that will save them.
You will be detained tonight. I will decide your fate when I am certain of my own mind.
2 security guards seized Tariq's arms. He stumbled, still murmuring prayers, his legacy shattered like the glass vials on the floor. Sheikh Faisal turned to Olivia. The wound of betrayal was raw. He would need the night to understand what justice truly demanded. The next morning, Olivia found Sheikh Faisal waiting in a private lounge, his eyes shadowed from a sleepless night.
My trust is shattered. Before I decide Tariq's fate, I must be certain your nose wasn't just luck.
Test me. Line up 10 oud samples, real, tainted, from different years. I'll name each one.
Faisal weighed the gamble. This blind test would crown her expertise or expose her as a fraud.
If you fail, you leave tonight with nothing. Not even my thanks. Your name will be forgotten.
I accept. When I succeed, I want more than money, a chance to help rebuild what your cousin destroyed.
She placed her grandmother's notebook on the table, pages of scent profiles spanning 50 years.
Namira taught me to hear the song of every flower. Let me sing yours.
Faisal summoned his laboratory chief. 10 anonymous vials would be ready within 2 hours.
Namira, be with me now. I won't fail you.
In the laboratory, 10 identical vials stood on a steel tray, each labeled only with a number. The air thickened with expectation.
Begin. Let's see if your nose is truly divine.
Olivia lifted the first vial. A single inhale and she spoke without hesitation.
Acularia Krasna, Laos, 2011 harvest.
One by one, she cataloged each oil species, origin, year, as if reading from a library of scents.
This one is Aquilaria malaxensis, but contaminated. Ethylene brassylate at 3%. It mimics the 2009 Prasad harvest, but the finish is synthetic.
Tariq, seated in the corner, watched his last hope dissolve with each correct answer.
8 correct so far. 2 remain.
She identified the last 2, a rare Kalimantan oil and a clean Cambodian, without a flicker of doubt. The lab fell into stunned silence. Olivia had passed the impossible test, and Tariq's fraud now stood fully exposed to the light. But Tariq was not finished. With the evidence against him, he turned to the only weapon left, the poisonous tongue of a cornered man.
You cannot trust this waitress, Faisal. She is a foreigner, a nobody, who serves tea for tips. Why would she protect our name? We are blood. My father built this business with yours. Our families are one. She wants to destroy us for a handful of dollars.
I never asked for your name. I asked for truth. Your fraud poisoned every bottle that left this distillery.
Lies. She conspired with the auditor. She tampered with the samples. How else could a server know such things?
Tariq, the charts do not lie. The fixative is in your barrels. Your own invoices condemn you.
My grandmother taught me that a nose never forgets a lie, and yours stinks of ethylene brassylate.
Then exile me. But do not shame our mother's memory with a public trial. Have mercy, cousin.
Faisal's gaze moved slowly between them, the cousin who had stolen his trust, and the stranger who had returned it.
Enough. I have heard all. Now I will decide.
Faisal's voice echoed through the distillery, heavy and final like a door sealing a tomb.
Tariq, for 8 years of fraud, I denounce you. You are no longer my family.
Tariq collapsed to his knees, his fingers clawing at the cold air where family ties once hung.
Guards, deliver him to the courts. Let every judge see the invoices and the tainted oil.
As Tariq was dragged from the distillery, his sobs of betrayal echoed down the stone corridor. Olivia watched him vanish, her chest tight, knowing the truth had finally untethered her from disgrace.
You unmasked a serpent in my own house. I will not forget what you did.
Behind Faisal, his companions, once mocking, nodded slowly, their smugness erased, but the Sheikh still said nothing of the $50,000. The reward lay in the silence. He turned to Olivia, his eyes searching, as if weighing a debt he wasn't yet ready to settle. The next evening, the same restaurant that had echoed with mockery now held its breath for a different reason.
Olivia, you not only identified my oud, you uncovered a poison in my own house. The $50,000 are yours.
A gold-enveloped check was placed in her hands. The zeros seemed unreal.
Namira, you would have wept. This changes everything.
The room erupted in genuine applause. No longer the hyena laughter, but the sound of respect earned.
You have done more than win a wager. You have restored honor to my name.
Thank you, Sheikh Faisal. My grandmother taught me that truth is a fragrance that never fades.
On the table lay the small glass vial, witness to a decade of lies, and the check, proof of a single courageous truth. But Faisal had not dismissed her. He stood, looking at the waitress who had become something far greater. The story was not over. For behind the Sheikh's eyes, a new question kindled, one Olivia had not heard the Resembers now to imagined.
Olivia, I need more than luck guarding my oud. I am offering you a director's role at my perfume house.
A director. He trusts a waitress with his entire legacy.
Your nose can detect a single drop of impurity. I need that vigilance inside my walls, not another Tariq.
My whole life I've served others. Now he's asking me to lead.
I will triple the 50,000 as your first year's contract. You will report only to me.
The door to a new life swung open, its hinges gleaming with a promise no server ever expected.
Sheikh Faisal, this is beyond anything I dared dream. I need a moment.
Take all the time you need, but know this, integrity like yours doesn't walk through my door often.
She turned towards the window, the city lights blurring as her vision swam with memories. In the silence, her grandmother's face appeared, patient, knowing, as if waiting for Olivia to speak her own truth. Olivia drew a slow breath and turned back to face the Sheikh, her decision crystallized.
I accept, Sheikh Faisal, but the position alone is not enough for me. My first line will be different. It will honor a woman who harvested desert roses, my grandmother, Namira.
A perfume dedicated to a rose harvester? Tell me more.
She taught me that a rose's scent holds the soul of the earth. I want to bottle that memory.
Then let that be our first creation. Namira's rose will guard the truth in every bottle.
In that moment, the waitress and the Sheikh formed a covenant stronger than any contract. Outside the window, as if in benediction, the desert roses of Oman seemed to nod in the wind. The name, Namira, would soon be etched on glass, a tribute written in fragrance. And with a firm handshake, Olivia's new life began, rooted in the past, reaching toward an unwritten future. In the weeks that followed, the perfume laboratory became Olivia's sanctuary.
Every petal has a memory. You taught me that.
She sourced absolute from the same Cambodian roses Namira had harvested, each drop a whisper across years. Her fingers, now director, still remembered the feel of thorn and petal. A memory surfaced. The child Olivia, cross-legged on the dirt floor, learning to detect a single spoiled bloom.
No synthetics, no shortcuts, only the truth of the rose.
The perfume took shape, a heart of desert rose, wrapped in soft oud and a breath of Omani frankincense. When she finally lifted the finished sample to her nose, her eyes closed, and Namira was there. The bottle was designed with a simple etched rose, plain yet elegant, like a woman who never needed ornament to be remembered. In a quiet moment, Olivia traced the rose on the glass and whispered the name that would soon be on every lip. The launch of Namira's rose transformed the courtyard of Faisal's perfume house into a garden of light and jasmine.
Tonight, I introduce not just a fragrance, but a new director, a woman whose nose saved my legacy.
He gestured toward Olivia, and the crowd turned, a murmur of curiosity rippling through the elegant assembly.
This perfume begins where I began, in a rose field in Oman, with a woman named Namira.
As she spoke, a large screen behind her showed an image of Namira's weathered hands cradling a cluster of pink roses.
She taught me that every scent tells a story. and that no lie can endure against a truthful nose.
She lifted the simple glass bottle into the light, and a hush fell over the courtyard. The first spray filled the air. Desert rose, soft oud, frankincense, and the crowd closed their eyes, transported. Applause erupted, not the mocking laughter of months before, but a genuine ovation that washed over Olivia like warm rain. She stood beside Faisal, no longer a waitress, but the guardian of a truth that now carried her grandmother's name to the world. Later that night, Olivia pushed open the door of her new office, her name etched in gold on the glass. On her desk, a single black and white photograph waited. Namira, framed in silver, smiling as if she had always known.
I wish you could smell it, grandmother. They closed their eyes and saw your roses.
She remembered the child she had been, cross-legged on the dirt, learning to trust the fragrance of a single petal. Now, through the window, the city of Kuwait lay below, a constellation of lights she had once only served. A soft smile touched her lips, not of triumph, but of a circle completed.
You said, every scent holds a story. I finally told yours.
She sat back, the nameplate on her door catching the lamplight, a title earned by a single breath of truth. She placed the photograph beside the small desert rose in its vase, and the two seemed to breathe together. In the quiet, the fragrance of Namira's rose seemed to linger, a blessing sealed in glass and memory. The morning light found Olivia walking alone through the rose fields of Oman, the same earth her grandmother had tended for a lifetime. She knelt beside a bush, and in the feel of a petal, she sensed the echo of a familiar touch. Her hands, once stained with coffee and steam, now held a rosebud as carefully as Namira once did. The sun climbed higher, and the scent of the flowers filled the air, the very fragrance that had inspired Namira's rose. She closed her eyes, and the desert wind carried a whisper, or perhaps a memory, of a soft voice long silent.
You said, every rose has a song. I can finally hear it.
A honeybee drifted past, and Olivia watched it, smiling, as if it were a messenger between worlds. The fields stretched endless, each bush a living monument to the woman who had seen beauty in thorns. She plucked a single rose and pressed it to her lips, then tucked it into her journal, next to her grandmother's faded formula. She stood and faced the horizon, ready to return, carrying the truth of that earth forever in her breath. Before leaving, Olivia knelt one last time, a small rose sapling in her hands, its roots wrapped in moist cloth. She dug into the warm earth with her bare hands, the same soil that had nourished her grandmother's blooms. She lowered the sapling, patting the soil around it with a tenderness that held decades. Then she stood, wiping her hands on her dress, and faced the rising sun. The first light spilled over the field, painting the petals in gold. A bee hovered over the new bush, already claiming its first blossom. Life continued.
From your hands to mine, grandmother. Now this earth will remember us both.
She turned and began the walk back, but glanced over her shoulder at the tiny sapling, a promise kept. The desert held its breath, and in that silence, a truth older than oud whispered its enduring refrain. One waitress, one grandmother, one rose, and a world awakened to the scent of truth.